Okay, Dr. Buenfil, thank you so much for joining us. This is another one of our career presentation Q&As. As part of the introduction to kinesiology class here at Evergreen, there's kind of three parts to the class. The first part, we look at the importance of being physically active and the challenges with society and trying to keep people active and sedentary living and all the challenges that come from people, not being healthy and not being physically active. And then the middle part, we talk about biomechanics and physiology and motor skills and all kind of the subdisciplines. Well, of course, Dr. Buenfil has actually done this class as an EVC
Yes,
alumni.
I have.
And then the final third of the class, we talk about all the careers. So now kinesiology kind of gets you into a pathway where you can be anything from a PE teacher, a coach, an athletic trainer. We had an athletic director talk to us. You can go run UFC Fit or 24-hour fitness and be a gym manager. Or of course, you're going to sports medicine. When I saw at sports medicine, I'm talking about chiropractor, physical therapist, or even beyond, be the person who fixes the ankle of the NBA player when he fixes the ligaments. So we kind of sports medicine. And as we get into this last part, I do like to bring in experts from the field who can just kind of talk to us about life as a chiropractor, as a physical therapist. And that's where you come into it. And just one last part of the introduction is one thing that makes this a bit special is Dr. Buenfil, or Jose, as I like to call him, Dr. Buenfil, he was an EVC student. So in 2016 and 2017, he was a EVC student athlete. He played in the men's soccer team. He was sat in the same class as you were sat in. He's a James Lick High School graduate. So he's a local East Side boy. And he went from Evergreen, he went on to finish his study and now into work, which I'll let him talk about. But when people ask me why I do what I do, seeing success stories like you, Jose, they mean more to me than anything else. So having you come back as a guest presenter, as a doctor, and talking to our undergrad classes, it's a privilege and we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here.
So let's start off. Joe, why don't you, Jose, just introduce yourself. Why don't you tell us what you do, where you work? Just kind of give us an introduction just about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So I currently am associate chiropractor at Almaden Chiropractic Wellness, which is on the south side of San Jose. What I pretty much do as my job, main responsibilities include assessing, analyzing, evaluating, and adjusting patients just to improve their overall health and well-being. I primarily focus on just corrective, preventative, maintenance care, just to help people stay out of pain, but also just get better long-term. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Some of the hobbies that I like to do is I like going to the gym, love playing soccer, just being active, taking care of myself, watching movies, doing it all, taking trips. Yeah.
So before we record this, we're just having a great conversation about the fact that you're kind of on a health and fitness journey and keeping yourself active as well. Jose,
That's
you're now
correct.
27, 28? How old are you?
20. I'm actually
26?
29.
29. Okay, late 20s.
Yeah.
So you're in that age where you start realizing, hey, I've been working hard and I got my career up and running, and now I want to spend a bit of time looking after myself. Do you find that being active and being healthy helps you in your job, in that as you're working with your clients, they do see you as a health and fitness professional, right?
Yes.
I think being active and being healthy and looking strong, do you think that actually helps you in your job at all? Just out of interest?
Absolutely, actually. I think one of the key core values that I have is lead by example. I always find that to be something that if someone plays the part, they should be the expert at that. So if they look the part, people most likely will listen to what you have to say, just because actions speak louder than words. So, and it is also a physical part of the job. So adjusting is physical skills that require you to be moving people around, to be putting people in certain positions, to be able to adjust. So that obviously plays a factor. But also giving tips and tricks and actually going through that process and helping someone guide that process because you're well aware and well known going through the process. So yeah, it definitely helps for
And
sure.
what was the place where you work in Almaden is called what?
Almaden Chiropractic and Wellness.
Okay. And
It's literally probably like 2 minutes away from Oak Ridge Mall.
yeah. I remember.
Mhm.
And then can I ask you then, what is your academic background? So you're from James Lick, because
Mhm.
no, you can't just walk into a chiropractic center and say, I want to adjust people. You've done a lot of work to get to where you are. So from
Mhm.
James Lick, you graduated James Lick. Do you want to kind of tell us how you went from being an East Side James Lick high school graduate to now
Mhm.
being Dr. Buenfil?
Yeah, of course. So, um, I took a little bit of so yeah, I graduated from high school. I was supposed to go to San Jose State. Unfortunately, there was a situation with my high school and San Jose State that prevented me from actually going to San Jose State. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up going to Deanne's at the time. So I was there for probably like 1 or 2 months or so, but then just outside issues and circumstances led me to just being able to work and stop school full time. Um, so from there, I waited about a year. Actually, got contacted by Evergreen because I wanted to play soccer. Evergreen coach at the time was Joseph. Is that correct?
Still here, Joe, still
Yeah,
there, still teaches.
Joseph. Yeah, so Joseph actually reached out to me, gave me a call, said he was interested in seeing if I wanted to be a part of Evergreen and be a part of the program there. So I got enrolled at Evergreen. I started my career there, and then I played 2 years at Evergreen. Did a total of 3 years. Got my associate's degree in kinesiology there at Evergreen. After that, I decided to stop playing soccer and just pursue school. So I ended up doing is I transferred to Stanislaus. I
Yep.
got my bachelor's in kinesiology there with an emphasis in exercise science. And then after I finished my 2 years there, got my bachelor's, I went directly into chiropractic school, which was a 3.5 to 4 year program at Life West in Hayward. And that led us up to this point here. So,
So you went to De Anza, 'cause I think this is kind of important, right? Is uh your local kid
mhm,
when you first went to college, you went to a junior college. You
mhm,
didn't necessarily know what you wanted to do. In fact, there's been times in that journey where you've actually stepped out, had to work,
mhm,
family situations, living situations,
mhm.
siblings, life happens, right? Um,
Right.
but then with some perseverance and some persistence, back in Evergreen, kinesiology, graduate Evergreen, go to Stan State, complete your degree in kinesiology and exercise science. And then after you finish your bachelor's degree, you go to chiropractic school.
That is correct. Yeah.
Um, when you finish chiropractic school, is there a from the when you leave the school to when you start working, how do you get work experience? Like, is you can't go from just reading textbooks to start adjusting people. How do you get
Mhm,
is chiropractic school, does that give you a lot of the I would be intimidated at the idea of starting to adjust people and fix people.
mhm,
Do you transition where there's actually some kind of hands-on training as you kind of go through
mhm.
chiropractic school?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love how the chiropractic program is actually set up and how it's designed. So like beginning of the year, so like the first year and a half, it's all pretty much academic learning and all that stuff. And it's getting you hands-on, so learning the basics, learning how to palpate a spine, learning how to just hold the head in the position, just doing the very basics within the first, second year. Um, the cool thing about being in a specifically just private school and having just chiropractors all around you is that the older ones that are about to leave usually tend to do a bunch of clubs or groups where they teach you more hands-on stuff. So there's that aspect of like doing stuff outside of school where you're practicing your hands-on skills is a plus, obviously. But then as your school goes on, you're learning these adjustments, you're learning these different techniques. And towards your last year, you usually go into clinic. So they transition you from being into the school to into the clinic and actually seeing patients hand. And then you also get designated a mentor at the school. So if you have any questions, if you have any help with a outpatient, that's when the mentor comes in and kind of teaches you and kind of guides you. Once you complete all your requirements and everything and you're ready to graduate, um prior to that, you have this thing called a preceptorship, meaning you can go to someone else's clinic and actually do hands-on stuff, hands-on work with that doctor being under you're being under their supervision. So then they're responsible for you, and that's where you get more of your hands-on. So by the time you graduate, you get licensed, you're pretty much well established in terms of
You've been doing it for a good chunk of time.
yeah. So 4 years of just nonstop, always palpating, always doing something hands-on, always just that repetitive, and time and repetition is what kind of gets you comfortable
Is
and
there a
confident.
certain number? Is there a certain number of hours you have to do? Is like you have to like 100 hours or 200 hours? Is it a
Yeah,
certain number?
yeah, absolutely. So once you have to do an exam to get into clinic, so you have a basic understanding of what everything is required in terms of examination and analyzing and everything. So once you get into the clinic, you have to complete a total of I believe 500 to 550 hours of just clinical work,
Okay.
meaning paperwork, meaning seeing patients, doing reports, you name it, it all goes towards that. Even the
And
preceptorship. Yeah.
and then I remember because Jose's Dr. Buenfil has actually been into our class. Some semesters
Mhm.
actually come in and he'll talk to the in-person class. The mission trip, don't you have a chance to kind of go travel and maybe work with in some communities that don't have access to this care, and you can get a bunch of your training out in a different environment? Is it as kind of
Yes,
mission trip's the right word for it? But I remember you talking about it.
that is correct. Yeah. So you are eligible based on how many they look at your requirements and look at how many visits, office visits you've already completed, how many hours you've been in clinic, what quarter you in. Usually there's requirements in order for you to be eligible for these mission trips. And it's typically towards the end of the program. So with this, the school actually offers a bunch of local trips, meaning either you go and you adjust the homeless, or you go and help out high school athletes, or you just go do stuff around the local aspect of just trying to help the
Yeah.
community. But also you have mission trips, which you go to a different country, whether it's Mexico, whether it's India, whether it's Tonga. And then there's another one I'm forgetting, but yeah, pretty much those mission trips count towards your total office visits, not necessarily hours, but it's a really good way of getting as much hands-on as you possibly can while giving free care, and just exploring and seeing the
Yeah.
different aspects of the world while providing service.
So how old are you when you decided that being a chiropractor is what you wanted to do, right? So you're at Evergreen, you're doing kinesiology, you leave, you go do kinesiology and exercise science. At what
Mhm,
point did you decide, hey, chiropractor, physical therapy? Like what was on your mind as to what you wanted to be? Was there a certain time where because I know
mhm.
there's a story about your grandma. Is it your grandma where
Yes.
you did something and that was like your kind of aha moment where you kind of really
Mhm,
kind of fell in love with what you were doing. But at what point because a lot of our students, they don't know what they want to do, or they've only got a rough idea, and finding that passion and following the passion is what most of our presenters have said is you'll find your purpose,
mhm.
you'll know it. When did you know that you wanted to do this? That chiropractor was for you? And was it a money thing? Like what? I just want to earn good money, so I want to be. What was
Mhm.
your motivation?
I see. Yeah, so there's two parts to that question, I would say. So the first one was kind of, again, I was in the same realm of as any other student, right? So I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I love fitness and I loved working with athletes, being an athlete, sports. So I wanted to do something in that realm. And then I listed off my options, like what are they? And then it was athletic training, physical therapy, or physical therapy assistant in just my mind. So I was pursuing that route. I knew I needed a kinesiology degree to do that, so I just decided to stick to that, and then explore my options as I was transitioning and trying to transitioning out of the bachelor's program and into the either graduate or potentially looking for a job. So that was always in my mind, right? I always thought chiropractic was interesting, but I always thought it was out of my reach. That's something that's super important. The reason why I say that is because I never even considered it. the reason why I never considered it is because it was a doctorate program, and I knew that I didn't want to do schooling for that long, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. And then the pivotal point was actually when I was in my my second to last or last quarter of undergrad, where the teacher has us kind of introduce yourself and just kind of say what you want to do or what are the plans for once you graduate. And I actually had a good friend of mine that at the time I didn't know, but he was the only one out of all the classes that made us do this that said he was going to be a chiropractor. And I'm like, how is he going to be a chiropractor if he still has to do all this stuff? Right. And keep in mind, I didn't know the guy at the time. So then we actually got partnered up in a project that we had to do for the class. And then I started asking him more about it. And he was super open. He told me, yeah, after school, I'm going to go directly to Cairo school. This is the contact, this is the people. So I just took that as like, well, this might be my backup just in case I can't go into PT school,
Yeah.
right? Or even PTA. I was just like, well, maybe. However, like the more I tried to do physical therapy, either going to like these programs or just trying to see what requirements I still needed or whatnot, it just seemed very it seemed, how do I put it? Like like I was fighting that resistance. Like there was so much resistance and I was trying to force something that wasn't there, you know? So then I was like, you know what, screw this. Like, let me just check out chiropractic school. Literally immediately when I contacted them, they made me feel super welcome. They showed me around the school. Everybody was like just super happy overall when I was like exploring there. They even offered me scholarships based on my education, based on my grades, based on
Interesting. Yeah.
anything that they could possibly help me in, they were gonna help me in. And so then I applied to all these scholarships. I got over $6,000 worth towards my tuition. It was just after that it just kind of flowed easily.
It was almost more achievable and more attainable. The
Yeah,
barriers into chiropractic school to graduate were actually less than physical therapy or physical therapy assistant or even athletic training.
absolutely. Yes, it's very, I would say it's easier. I would say it's easier to get into chiropractic school than to physical therapy school. However, I think that the program itself trickles people down. So not like for physical therapists, they hand select people that are know that they're going to graduate. That way their graduation success rate is 100%.
Okay.
However, for Cairo schools, they welcome you with open arms. And if you have the ability and the capability and the determination, you either stick with the program, you overcome all those challenges and obstacles because it's not easy. I'll tell you that, not
Yeah.
easy at all. And usually people either tend to trickle down. Like we started our class with 60 people and only 25 of us graduated. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
hard
to get
program.
to get to the top is sometimes survival of the fittest, right? Everyone says they want to do it. Very few actually go and do the 7 years of school to get to where you are, where you
Mhm.
want to get to call yourself a doctor. And I would presume your weekly, monthly, and annual salary would be that more of that than someone who hasn't got those same qualifications. So you put more into it, hopefully get more out of it as well.
Yeah, and not just I would say financially or just, I mean, obviously that's one aspect of things, but just like the principle and the purpose behind that is so much more rewarding. Along with that, you get to know so much about yourself that you didn't know before. I feel like the type of person that went into Cairo school versus the person that came out is a totally completely different person in the best way possible.
I'm sure. But what does your, if we can move on then, because I know you've got clients to see. What does your
Mhm.
average day and your average week look like? So you're a chiropractor, you work in kind of the clinic. What does
Mhm.
your week look? Do you make your own hours? Is it 10-hour days? Is it more? What does your average day and week look like? Do you get weekends off?
Yeah, so it pretty much is up to the chiropractor itself to set their own hours, their own schedule, just based on how they want to run their own practice, micro practice within the actual practice,
Yeah.
because it's very personalized based care. So like most of my patients or if not all of my patients don't want to see the other chiropractor. And it's not that they don't trust the other chiropractor or anything like that. It's just that they just prefer me, right? They want to be under my schedule. So it kind of just all depends. So like for me, I'll sometimes work Saturdays for a couple hours just for the people that can't work because they have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I have Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. I'm usually here all day with a 2 hour lunch. So I'm currently in my lunch. Um, and then from there, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have the mornings off. So I just work a couple hours in the afternoon. And then
Mhm.
that's, yeah. So it's a
And you
pretty,
set and
pretty,
you set your own schedule based on, I'd imagine the more I work, the more I get paid. So I'll find a nice balance where I'm working enough to earn good money, but I'm also at the point where I can have maybe the mornings to go to the gym, or
mhm.
the morning to spend with a partner, or whatever go for a walk, whatever you choose to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see it as more like, we but the good thing about being an associate is that you don't take all the responsibility as a business owner and tackling all the day-to-day work that comes with being a business owner. So I can just focus on what I need to do, come in, take care of my patients, and then get out. uh However, I love the flexibility. I love the fact that I have an actual salary,
Yep.
and if I choose to want to get a bigger bonus after the end of the month, then I can choose to extend my hours if I want to.
So if we
So,
if we talk about it, so you're an employee of the person who owns the chiropractor set,
mhm.
and then if you wanted to, you could become a business owner where you had your own
On
chiropractor
cl-
clinic.
y- yeah, and even so yeah, chiropractor, you need to be a licensed chiropractor in order for you to be an owner of a chiropractic clinic.
Okay.
So not somebody can just hire a chiropractor and be like, hey, you're gonna be in charge of this
Okay.
clinic.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so the owner has to be the one calling all the shots, or is the one that's the actual owner. So yeah.
Okay. Um, and then what kind of patients do you see? Are your patients athletes? Are they children? Are they typically middle-aged people? Like, you have a lot of
Mhm.
repeat customers, like you said, like what's the demographic? What's the age of the people you work with usually?
Yeah, so I typically the a good majority of my patients are Spanish speaking patients. So I get all the Spanish speaking patients here in the clinic, just because I'm the only chiropractor that speaks fluent Spanish. But we get a variety of different patients since we take insurance, all types of insurance. So that kind of fluctuates a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and since I am the youngest, I usually tend to see since so I'm 29, all the other chiropractors have been in practice for 20 plus years. So I'm like the youngest one. So usually I'll tend to get athletes, either like the older population. I usually tend to get those because they usually want a younger doctor at times. And then I'll see, yeah, athletes, Spanish speaking patients, and then I would say like the older populations, anywhere from
Quite a
40 to
di- quite
60. Yeah.
quite a diverse group then.
Yeah, very diverse for sure.
And then what skills do you think, of not of course the actual adjusting skills, but what skills do you need, like personality traits do you need to be successful as a chiropractor? Is there anything, I would imagine you need to be a good communicator because you have to build
Mhm.
relationships, but what skills do you think a good chiropractor needs to have?
Yeah, I think some of the key skills that I'd recommend someone to have is just problem solving skills, having active listening and empathy skills, obviously communication skills, as you mentioned, but also being very efficient, having some patience, and obviously the manual adjustment itself, right? So being able to know what you need to do, how you need to do it for the type of person that's coming into your office, I think that's super important. So being very analytical and be very observant are, I would say, the key roles into
Okay.
becoming a great chiropractor,
And I
successful.
I've had the privilege of actually seeing some of these videos and slides. Can you kind of talk us through? You said about what's adjusting, and then was it palpating? What are the
Palpation.
things? Yeah, what I know it's hard for you to explain them,
Uh-huh.
but what, like, are they techniques? Like, what are you actually doing?
Okay, so um, so palpation is pretty much just feeling. Okay, so anytime we're palpating, it's either feeling the spine, just feeling how something's moving, if there's motion, the tonality, if there's heat, just a mixture of a lot of things, right? So that's kind of palpation. So it's part of an analysis,
Okay.
and an analysis is pretty much just kind of seeing what the person's going to need. Now, an adjustment is, in a nutshell, is just a external force being put into a specific area to allow motion to be created. Okay, whether that could be with a tool, that can be either by my hands, or that can be with a specific table that we have here at the clinic. Um, when people say adjustments, they equate that to what they see on social media, which is the popping and cracking, the constant yanking on their necks and stuff like that. Some of those tend to be a lot extreme. I don't
Yeah.
do that at all. And obviously it's social media, so it's trying to get your attention. But um, babies get adjusted too, and pretty much is little pinkies putting constant pressure into a specific area that needs movement to create better brain to body connection. And that's pretty much what we're trying to do, is remove nerve interference, also known as subluxation. And
Okay,
that's
so
it.
that's what chiropractics basically are looking at. Is it the spine and how is this the I don't know? Can you explain exactly? You're basically making alignments to make a clearer nerve, and
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you can
Yeah,
explain
so
about that.
yeah, no, of course. I love talking about this. This is what I talk about every single day when new patients come into the clinic. So I try to simplify it as best as I can, and most people tend to get it. So always look at it like this. It's usually you have your nervous system, right? So you have your brain and your spine, right? And there's a channel, right? Or if you want to think about it kind of like a road, right? Or yeah, a road from point A to point B and point B to point A. And pretty much you want to get from point A to point B as fast as possible with no potholes or no interference, anything that's going to block that or minimize that function, right? So pretty much what I'm trying to do is look for those areas that potentially keep be disrupting that connection, just to make sure that your body functions best as it can, right? So some of those potholes or examples that interfere with that, um, it could either be from just daily stressors, right? It could be for physical, chemical, or emotional. What I mean by that is, it could be from being in a bad posture, right? So having this hunched over position, creating that tension in the upper neck, and that constant pressure that's being put onto those nerves can disrupt that connection, right? So then once that connection is being disrupted for an extended period of time, then our body then starts presenting all these signs and symptoms. So what we're trying to do is ultimately make your body function better, move better, connect better, so then the signs and symptoms can eventually go away because your body's functioning the way it's supposed to.
You explained it significantly better than me.
So
What are
yeah,
the main
that's in a nutshell.
positives, or what are the main rewards from your job? Then why do you? Again, you spent so many years to do it. You can tell that you enjoy doing it. What are the most rewarding parts of your job?
I think the most rewarding parts of it is most people like to um, think about this big thing. I like to prioritize like the little things, which I believe are big things. Like for example, like just making people come in, and I get this pretty much every day, where people come in, they can't sit, they can't stand, they can't play with their kids, right? They're irritated because they're always in pain. They're always having to rely on medications, right? So their quality of life tends to get disrupted, and usually they don't feel like themselves, so they lose a part of their identity, and they identify themselves with the pain, so the pain starts taking over, right? um and what I like to do is just having that little spark in their eyes and their face of finally getting that relief that they've been looking for, you know. And it could be a little as like, oh, I can move better, I can actually bend down and touch my toes now, I can actually pick up my kid, you know, stuff like that that happens on a day to day that people take for granted, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and
So
That's rewarding for you to see you're making a difference.
absolutely, I just want people to get better.
Similar to me having Dr. Buenfil on this call. The most
Mhm.
rewarding part is when you see you've helped someone, or you've been a part of someone's journey, and you feel you've added a little bit somewhere that someone's now using that to be more active, live a better lifestyle, go on to help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And also another I would say more personalized rewarding that I like is just having athletes get out there and play, right? So I can name a couple of them, well, a bunch of them, but the two main ones that kind of come to my mind is a marathon runner being told they can no longer run because they're hip pain, and if they keep running, that they're eventually going to have surgery, and not being able to run more than half a mile because their pain is just so severe. To a couple months ago, she's been under my care this whole time, and she's was in the Chicago Marathon, ran and beat her score, and got her time under 4 hours,
Oh,
which she
wow.
never even thought it was possible.
Yeah.
So just showing that power and that success story, that goes to show it's like that's super dope,
Helping people.
super amazing. And then
And that comes back to your personality, or you have to want to help people to be in the job. If you're going to be in
mhm.
the job, one of the things you have to enjoy is helping people and getting joy from seeing others do well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also let me just kind of add more to it, and I'm
Of
sure
course.
that this might answer a question that you might have, but um if you don't like patient care in chiropractic, there's something for not patient care. I think that not patient care is not for everybody. So for example, like there's other alternatives that you can do. Like for example, if you love animals, there's animal chiropractic that you can do. If you like more of the science thing, more analytical stuff, there's called the DAC which is radiology just for chiropractors specifically. Um, and if you don't like doing that, you can always go and teach at the school, right? If you like
Yep.
teaching. So there's not just patient care, right? There's just a whole venue of different alternatives that you can take with the chiropractic care, right? If you like babies, you can go into pediatrics and do that and just focus on babies. So it's just a wide variety.
And that's what we try to do all the time is if you want to work with people or in sport or physical activity, there's so many jobs now that available. I'm sure there's a data collector somewhere that sat on a computer tapping away and doing research and keeping things organized. There's a role for everybody within the field of kinesiology.
Hmm.
Doesn't always have to be you have to be the person being the coach or being the trainer or being the athlete themselves. I guess my last question then, Jose, is
Hmm.
what advice would you have for students? I know for a fact that in the class we have some aspiring chiropractors because they do fill out as one of the
Hmm.
paper they have to write. What advice do you have for someone who's seriously is in a career as a chiropractor?
Yeah, I have um I have two. So this could be for both people that are interested in the profession and then the people that might not be interested, but that just take the course just for general education. I would say that the first one with if you are interested, what I would highly suggest is getting your hands on as much as you can and just kind of exploring, right? So going to clinics and seeing if you can shadow certain doctors, potentially working at one if you want to. Um, it, check out the school and see what they have to tell you, if like what requirements do I need in order for me to be approved to this program because I know I want to do this. Is there anything else that I can do to just try to minimize if you don't speak interest or if you don't put yourself out there to wanting to learn, you're gonna fall back, right? I feel like you're gonna be at a disadvantage. So why not get ahead if you're serious about doing what you want to do? And if you want to come shadow me, if you want to use me as a resource, I'll be happy to guide you in the right direction. I One of my main purposes is to make sure that people don't go through what I went through and make an easier path for people that come after me. And I think that's kind of the point. Um, so yeah, so definitely shadow and do all that stuff. But then for the people uh that don't necessarily want to get into athletics or anything like that, I would just say is um just invest as much as you can in yourself, right? So you can only help others as much as you can help yourself, right? So whether that's if you want to do engineering, if you want to do anything else, you're gonna have to solve a problem, right?
Yep.
And you got to be the best version of yourself to do that. So always pour into yourself, always give back to yourself, because the more you help yourself, you can help your loved ones and you can help the people around you.
And be committed. If you're going to do something, do it properly. If you're going to commit to do so, knock it
Do it
out.
right.
Yeah. I do like the idea. I will definitely kind of add your contact details to the Canvas shell where this is populated. And is it typically okay? Can people shadow, like if someone reached out to you, or even maybe a chiropractor close to where they live? But chiropractors typically open to someone just coming in and kind of nosying and just seeing what they're doing, because I would imagine you shadow someone for a couple of days or a day and you kind of see what their average day looks like. It might open your eyes positively or even adversely, but kind of
Mhm.
seeing what they do, I'm sure, be a big help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get that all the time where people like chiropractors will love to have people just look at what they're doing on a day to day, and they want to share things with people that are potentially interested. So I would suggest definitely contacting me, and I can potentially guide you in the right direction with a specific chiropractor, or just go visit your local one. It doesn't hurt to just ask, "Hey, can I shadow? I'm interested in learning about this."
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, or 10 out of 10, people are open to that for sure.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Any last things you kind of want to leave us with? I know you're on your lunch break and it's time for you to get out of here. But any
Mhm.
kind of last closing comments that you have that we've not really spoke about, or
No, I think just I would say, well, what I want for students to know is, just if you're gonna do something, just put your 100% on it. Don't try to find the shortcut, because if you find the shortcut, eventually it's gonna catch up to you. Do it the right way, do it once, get it done, and anything worthwhile is worth doing.
I think if you do something you enjoy, if you do something you've got your personality kind of matches to, you're more likely to invest in it. So that's usually my advice is do something you really enjoy. Because if you
Mhm.
enjoy it, you'll probably spend more time doing it. That way
And
you
have fun.
exactly.
Have
Okay,
fun.
well, Dr. Buenfil, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. And we really appreciate your insight into the career as a chiropractor. It's been very much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Simon.
Right, thanks, Jose.
Thank you.